evening and welcome along to Matchday Live here on Fox's Hub with me, Dan Bates. Matt Elliott and Ewan Roberts are in the studio with me. We'll chat to those in just a moment, but we've got all of tonight's team news for this huge game for Leicester away, of course, at the Stadium of Light facing Sunderland. Both teams not in the best run of forms, it's fair to say, so Leicester really need to get back to winning ways if they are to remain top of the division. Enzo Maresca has decided to make 4 changes to the side that lost to QPR on Saturday. Out go Justin, Nelson, Pratt and Daka to be replaced by Doyle, Cody, Yunus and Vardy. The headline team news though perhaps is on the bench as Wilfred Ndidi returns and could make his first appearance of 2024. Here is the squad. It's Hermansen in goal, of course. Doyle, Fass, Cody and Chowdhury. Chowdhury retaining his spot as the right-back midfield hybrid role. Winks, Yunus and Dewsbury Hall, the 3 more regular central midfielders, with Mavididi and Fatawu either side of the returning for the first time in the starting 11 for a while, Jamie Vardy. On the bench, it's Stolarczyk, Justin, Albrighton, Iheanacho, Sutar, Daka, Ndidi, Marsal and Ben Nelson. Sunderland, meanwhile, are on a poor run themselves, as I've just alluded to. They've lost their last 4 in the league. Mike Dodds has made 2 changes to the side that lost to Norwich at the weekend. Out go Styles and Mundle to be replaced by Ballard and Rigg. It's a fairly defensive-looking lineup for the Black Cats. It's Patterson in goal, O'Nien, Ballard and Selt across the back 3, with Hjelde and Hume, the 2 wing-backs, Ekwar and Neal in midfield, with Bellingham and Rigg supporting Semedo up front. Well, they are the starting 11s then for both teams. Our starting 2 in the studio is Matt Elliott, former Leicester defender, and Ewan Roberts, former Leicester striker. Good evening to the 2 of you. Big game tonight, Ewan. It's fair to say we'll jump straight into it.
It is. When you've lost 3 on the spin, you want and need a reaction. You know, we've seen that gap between Leicester and Leeds and Ipswich and Southampton sort of been chipped away, especially by Leeds and Ipswich. It's now down to 3. You know, Ipswich and Leeds have got winnable games tonight. So it's, I wouldn't say it's a must-win game, but it's a massive, massive game for the football club.
Yeah, there's plenty at stake, isn't there? I think the pressure's sort of intensified, hasn't it, after the weekend? You know, all of a sudden, people were looking at the Leeds game and thinking, yeah, poor result and disappointing the way they conceded the late goals. But they looked at the performance and thought, no, listen, we're a good side, we'll be all right. And I still think that would be the case. And a lot of people still think that. But with the reversal against QPR, who I thought were excellent, by the way, in doing the job that they were set out to do, very tough opposition on the day. But regardless of that, you expect Leicester to go and win it, don't you? And, you know, the players will, manager does, everyone involved at the club didn't happen. All of a sudden, they're under the spotlight a little bit, aren't they?
Yeah, I think a lot of people might have looked at the table ahead of the game Saturday, seen Leicester at the top, QPR near the bottom, but wasn't really the case. QPR's form has been brilliant since their new manager came in. I think they'd have been 10th. In that form table, only 2 teams.
Lost 1 in 8, is it?
Only 2 teams have conceded more than them in that time as well. Coming up here on Matchday Live on Fox's Hub, we're of course building up to kick-off, which is now just under an hour away in the northeast. We will take a look back at that defeat to QPR. Ben Nelson scoring his first goal for the club. We'll hear from Wout Fass. He's been speaking ahead of this game this evening, and we'll also take a close look at tonight's opposition. Mike Dodds in his 3rd spell as interim manager of Sunderland. His first one went really well. His first one didn't go so well. His second one went really well. This one, he's lost 2 from 2 so far. Hopefully it'll be 3 from 3 by the end of the evening. Tonight's game is available for you on Fox's Hub. Wherever you are in the world, there is a live stream available, including here, of course, in the UK as well. It costs just £10 to get your Game Pass. All you need to do to get that is scan your QR code in the bottom right-hand corner of the screen there, just under Kiernan's left elbow. That will take you exactly where you need to go. If you don't want to do that or not sure how to do that, don't worry. All you need to do is head on to the website, go to Fox's Hub, and you'll get all the details there. As I said, just £10 to watch all the build-up with us, and then the full match also available as well. You don't have to watch us in the build-up, but it always helps. And you want to hear, of course, from these two here. We've got the team news just behind us. 4 changes, understandable changes, Matt, do you think, from the weekend?
Yeah, I think most people see the reason behind them. At the weekend, a lot of people are looking for Callum Doyle. Leicester have, not just solely because of him, obviously, but when they played their best football, normally Callum Doyle's been involved, or certainly earlier on in the season. And I think with Cody, I think there was a little bit of, not confusion, but a little bit of tentativeness, if that's a word, between Nelson and Fass. Maybe take a little while longer for them to strike up a genuine partnership. Cody is probably, he's the man for the order of the day, isn't he? I think, or the order of the night as it is this evening. And then you're looking through, and with Vardy coming in, I think a few people have wanted that for a little while. You can see the sense in that. You know, the time's about right, isn't it? And then who else we got there?
Eunice has come in.
Eunice
and
coming
Doyle
from the start,
well.
sorry. Yeah, I mentioned Doyle. Eunice, well, it's down a numbers game, really, isn't it, with Eunice? I think Pratt's injured, isn't he? So there isn't too much option there other than the good news that you mentioned there, Wilfred Ndidi. That could be very timely, to say the least.
I just think the team needed a bit of leadership, a little bit more experience, maybe a little bit more know-how, how to sort of go out and win a game. And that's what Conor Cody brings to the team. That's what Jamie Vardy, you look at the spine of that team now, there's leaders all through that spine. Callum Doyle, I think he's probably a natural centre half, but he gives you that balance because he's a natural left footer. Now, James Justin, he's done fantastic at left back, but he's always bringing things back to his right hand side. That's what happens when you play a right-footed player in that position. You know, Callum Doyle, he'll love getting forward. He'll support Mavididi. He'll get crosses into the box because he's a natural left-footed player.
There's quite a contrast between the two pairs of players that you just mentioned there, Nelson and Cody.
Yeah.
They're both centre halves, both very different in many aspects, and similar with Doyle and Justin for the reasons that you just mentioned. But it might just be what Leicester need, little bit more provision of opportunities with Doyle down that left-hand side. We know he's provided numerous assists and chances throughout the course of the season, even though he's been out injured for a while.
And when you think there was a run of games earlier in the season where I think the team kept 5 clean sheets in a row, 2 clean sheets in the last 10 games, you know, leaking goals and I wouldn't say sloppy goals, but goals that could have been avoided had people done their jobs properly.
Before we talk about Wilfred Ndidi, because it's only right that we do, of course, as I said at the very top, we haven't seen him since
too tempting not to
last year. We've got to mention Jamie Vardy, missed the last 2 through injury, including that trip to Leeds, of course. We know, it's fair to say, chances have been missed in the last 3 defeats that Leicester have had. Vardy will come in, hopefully he can be the spark, he can be the man that will take them, hopefully, as they're presented this evening.
I mean, he's got 10 goals in 24 appearances, I think. That's a great ratio. Scored his goal, was it against Middlesbrough here? I mean, he missed a chance that you'd expect Jamie Vardy to score before the one that he scored. I mean, he's got a good record against Middlesbrough, 4-7 against the Black Cats, and I think it's got to that stage now with 11 games to go. The pressure has been cramped up, and we spoke about it last night, Dan. I think it will probably do the team a bit of good having their next 3 games away from home. I think there's a bit more pressure, a bit more anxiety, frustration at times when things aren't quite happening here at the King Power. So I think there'll be a bit more freedom in the performance going away from home.
Yeah, although when you look back, you know, even Jamie's missed his fair share of decent opportunities, and I'm sure he would admit that himself. But it's been a collective thing. It hasn't been a finishing horror show, but there have been opportunities where they could have perhaps killed a game off, or certainly got themselves in a more comfortable position within those games. But listen, cometh the hour, or not that it's at that stage yet, but you know, in times of need, the reliability of Jamie Vardy is still essential, isn't it? And he's still, I'm sure most people would consider him, still the best finisher in the club, the best goal-scoring threat in the club.
Wilfred Ndidi then, great boost.
It is. I mean, had a newer role, a bit more freedom to go and express himself in an attacking area. I mean, he took that on board superbly, made some great runs. He's got that engine, he's got that power. We've always known that. He's added goals to his game as well in this role. It was just a massive blow for himself personally, but obviously for the football club, because we haven't really got a Wilfred Ndidi type player to come and fill that hole. And I said at the start of the season, they're the best midfield trio in this division by a country mile. Harry Winks, Dewsbury Hall and Wilfred Ndidi. Hard to replace. Great to see him back. Great to see Kelechi Iheanacho on the bench. I mean, that's what he's added. Those runs, those third man runs, those late runs into the opposition's penalty boxes, and that's probably what he wasn't doing when he was playing that anchoring role. But it's another sort of string to his bow, and he looks so natural and comfortable in that position.
Yeah, lots of players have contributed, haven't they, throughout the season, but Wilfred was a big miss. You felt that, didn't he? They just complement each other, those three in midfield that you mentioned, and I agree. I think as a trio, they're the strongest three in the league. They've got a little bit of everything there. There's perhaps that little bit of sort of magical stardust, if you like, creativity, but at times all three of them can provide that. And Wilfred, more surprisingly than most, but certainly from someone who hasn't seen him playing in that type. Obviously the manager spotted, but he's especially now, because whoever's filled his boots, Cassidy, Eunice, Pratt,
there's a few tries,
Ricardo even, and maybe one or two others off the top of my head, they've brought it to the same level as Wilfred did.
And I guess it's probably given all the supporters a boost when they check their phones an hour before or tune into us an hour before kickoff and see that he's on the bench. They'll get the boost. The players will get the boost as well to see Wilfred Ndidi, a man with 4 goals, 6 assists to his name.
And that's the big thing. Obviously, when you've had a player that's been out for a period of time, a player that you've badly been missing, the fans always miss those types of players. They can't wait for him to come back. But I just think the lift it will give the dressing room. I'm not saying it's like a new signing coming in, but it will be a massive boost to that dressing room, seeing him back fully fit and rearing to go for the last 11 games.
Well, as we know, Leicester City are still top of the Championship despite 3 defeats in the league in a row, culminating and hopefully ending from Saturday with that home defeat to QPR.
First time pass to Eunice intercepted. Instead, then it goes to Winks. He's tried to wrap his foot around it from outside of the penalty area. It was bending, but didn't quite bend enough. It was quite low, and it was just past the far post as we look of Asmir Begovic's goal. He fancies another one against Rangers. There's Harry Winks left as Willock holds off the challenge and then feeds it to Dykes, right of the penalty area. Nelson is across. It's across the face of goal, and Queen's Park Rangers have scored with Ilias Chair. It was a tap-in from close range after Willock was able to hold off the challenge, and Ilias Chair in the right place at the right time at the far post. Here's Eunice, he's free on the left, he's into the penalty area, drilling it across the face of goal, and Paul at the full back at the far post, touching it away with Keenan Dewsbury Hall, ready to pounce, ready to tap home. The clearest opportunity Leicester have had of that goal so far. It was the substitute Eunice that nearly created Hoop's shirt. Free kick comes in. It's Samfield. Back to goal. He's laid it off. Oh, Armstrong! It's his first touch. The substitute has leathered it home and goes to celebrate with those Queen's Park Rangers supporters. What an introduction! What a first touch! Sinclair Armstrong, 10 minutes into the second half. Queen's Park Rangers have only had 2 shots on target. They've scored them both. Leicester 0, Queen's Park Rangers 2. 4-man Queen's Park Rangers wall. It's touch for Dewsbury Hall. Left-footed, hooking it goalwards. A save, and in off the post. A goal for Leicester City, and a goal on his first home league start for Ben Nelson. Immediately the Leicester players retreat to the halfway line. Is the comeback on from the set piece? Nelson on hand, left-footed, with the assistance of the post. Deficit reduced immediately by Leicester City.
We won't dwell on it for too long, that defeat to QPR, Mark, but you were on co-commentary. We heard you a couple of times there. Not happy, it's safe to say, with what happened on Saturday.
No, not in the defending of the goals. Too easily conceded. And, you know, if you're going to play like Leicester do, and you've got to keep yourself tight and you've got to be focused and concentrated. You know, as you mentioned, in regards Connor Cody. But here, it's a little bit of a gamble, isn't it? I mean, there's three things in that spot. One, well, initially, James Justin's turned too easily. Fast communication with Nelson. Nelson gambles, wrong idea at that stage. And then Hamza Chowdhury picks up the wrong man, in my view. But it all happened so quickly. Second goal as well there. You know, not without picking out individuals. James Justin, it was soft generally. James Justin got a little bit out physical there and didn't get back round and cover. And it's his man Sinclair who rifles the ball in the net. First touch since coming on. It was soft, and it was soft against Leeds as well, in truth, wasn't it? The concession of the goals. So they need to tighten up. They need to tighten up in that respect. They have the capability, because you've seen them before. They can defend well collectively, but they're going to have to at times tonight as well. So perhaps that's why managers looked at it. Cody, Doyle, get back to basics.
I think out of the three, I think that's the one that hurts most. Not because it's QPR and they're fighting for their lives, because as Matty said, they were in good form. They'd won their previous two before coming up to the King Power, and they've got their tactics absolutely spot on. But if you look at the Middlesbrough game at the King Power, creating enough chances to win the game twice, to be fair.
Yeah, well, they did at the weekend as well. In terms of possession and shots, etc., but not golden opportunities, to be fair.
I saw quite a chunk of the highlights, and it looked as if QPR sort of limited Leicester to shots from 20, 25 yards.
Yeah.
I'm just thinking of that Middlesbrough game. There were good chances created, 3 headers in the 6-yard box. The Leeds game, it should have been 3-4-0 before Connor Roberts pulls one back in the 80th minute. I think that's the one that hurt the most, because I don't think the team created the clear-cut chances they had done in the previous two.
Yeah, no, you're right to say that. Sorry, but also with Leicester, at the same time, they very rarely get outplayed. No. Home or away. So it gives you hope, and confidence remains going forward because of that. But you can see some shortcomings, and they need to do something about them.
Yep, Leicester hoping to do the double over Sunderland this season, who came to King Power Stadium earlier in the season, played quite well, defended quite well, but thanks to a James Justin header, the Foxes took all 3 points.
Shrewsbury Hall, left-footed of course, an outswinger, and into the back of the net. James Justin gets his first goal of the season, totally unmarked, and Leicester City have the first goal.
Yes, that's what happened earlier in the season. Hopefully we see a repeat of 3 points tonight, and you can watch all of the action with us here on Foxes Hub. There is a live UK and worldwide stream available. It costs just £10. All you need to do to get that Game Pass is scan the QR code in the bottom right-hand corner of the screen there, or head on to Foxes Hub on the website as well. They're the 2 places to go and find it, and you can watch all of the action with us this evening. Right, that James Justin goal, of course, from defence came against Sunderland. We've seen a few of those from the man we're about to hear from now, Wout Faes. He spoke after the defeat to QPR, looking ahead to tonight's clash with Sunderland.
Well, the game's come thick and fast in the Championship. Sunderland next up. It's a long trip north for that one.
Yeah, but I think it's good that the game is arriving fast, because we want to win again. I think that's the only job we have to do.
Sunderland on a run of form. They've lost their last 4, so you'll be aware that they'll be looking to end that run.
Yeah, same for us. I think it's a game where 2 teams who are losing too much in the last games are competing each other. So it's going to be a big game in Sunderland.
Another team like a few Leicester have faced recently, where they've changed the manager, so probably unsure of what you will come up against.
Yeah, but we'll try to analyse them, and the staff will prepare everything so we know what to expect.
The game's starting to come again, Saturday, Tuesday. Does that suit a player that you just want to keep playing games?
Yeah, I like it personally because you have a lot of games. You can turn the pages quickly if you lose and try to win games as fast as possible again.
And obviously, as you say, looking to get back on the winning trail after the defeat against Queen's Park Rangers.
Yeah, I think that's the only job we have. So yeah.
Was that a frustrating game, the Queen's Park Rangers game? Lots of possession, just couldn't quite get the breakthrough.
Yeah, lots of possession, but we have to be more clinical, I think, and try to finish our chances. But as you say, it was a game where we tried to control, and we did control most part of it. But in the end, we don't have any points.
Despite the defeats, is the mood still high? The confidence is still high? Still, obviously, top of the table.
Of course, after this game, the mood was down because it's logic after losing again. But we have to be confident, and we know where we are in the table, and now we have to be mentally strong and go again on Tuesday evening.
The away form has been good all season, particularly the last game, the win at Premier League team in Bournemouth. So again, you can use that as the confidence for the game on Tuesday.
Of course, we'll try to rely on that, and we know our qualities, as I've said, and then we try to go there and win the game.
That was Wout Fast there, speaking to our commentator on the day on Saturday. He is he's still in the starting 11 for the Foxes tonight. There are 4 changes made by Enzo Maresca, 2 of those coming in defence as well, alongside Wout Fast. How will that defence particularly, Matt, work then? Exactly as we've pretty much written, isn't it? Chowdhury will go into midfield.
Yeah.
Will Fast be on the outside? Will Cody be on the outside to cover maybe the gap left by Chowdhury? How do you see it working tonight?
Well, the way it worked down at Bournemouth, when it was a similar line-up, but it was Vestergaard instead of Fast, wasn't it? Cody was out on the outside, as you put it, on the right-hand touchline, almost in a fullback position, when Leicester in possession. And then they tuck in, they narrow up, don't they? You know, everyone's who's been to a Leicester game sees how Leicester play these days. But in terms of that personnel, yeah, I imagine Fast will be left-hand side, stroke central. But yeah, something to look at maybe. But in terms of like the defensive structure, things don't change really with Maresca, do they? They play how he wants to play, regardless. But sometimes I do think that Leicester lose out a little bit on that. Listen, you add something, you take away somewhere else, don't you? But and that extra man in midfield, or the fullback, hybrid fullback, whichever you want to call it, then it disallows the likes of the fullback, the genuine fullbacks, in this case Doyle, left-hand side. He does get forward, but they don't go and overlap past the wide players, do
I don't
they?
think you need to either, do you, when you've got MATCHDAY out there?
No, maybe not, exactly. You know, and the proof's in the pudding for the majority of the season. But you know, that defensive setup is pretty secure, even though Hamza's going in there. You know, you've still got a nice steady 3 there. Whereas sometimes if Leicester turn the ball over, lose the ball, and they get hit at quickly, sometimes they are very wide, and there is space to open up. But away from home, you're just that little bit more reserved as well, aren't you?
I mean, interestingly, tonight, Mike Dodds, I think he looks like he's changed the shape of their side. I mean, they played at Norwich on Saturday, conceded a late goal, lost the game. Played with start with a back 4. He looks like he's going to a back 5 tonight with wing backs, which will obviously give them that width in wide areas. I mean, and with the 2 wingers that Leicester have, sometimes you've got to expect the defender just to defend. You can't always expect help from your winger, if that makes sense. So
yeah,
with your wing backs tonight,
they do get a fair amount of help though.
Yeah,
as well, don't
absolutely.
They try their best, but sometimes you expose.
Absolutely, but I think tonight, because they're going to be playing against wing backs, you know, Doyle and Chowdhury, that might give MATCHDAY, Fatu on the right, a little bit more space. Yeah,
exactly. There's pros and cons, isn't it, of any system, isn't it, whichever way. But at the same time, it'll be interesting to see how Sunderland go about things, because last 2 games, not so much Leeds, but last 2 home games, Middlesbrough and QPR, both teams sat back quite deep and hit really sharp on the counter, but been really aggressive in that. I wonder if Sunderland might employ a similar, or even though they're at home.
Well, let's pose that question to tonight's co-commentator, because Jerry Taggart is in position for us. Jerry, from a Sunderland point of view, I guess we'll start with from what Matt was saying. How do you see them lining up against the Foxes this evening? And firstly, good evening to you, of course, as well.
Yeah, good evening, chaps. Yeah, listen, it wouldn't surprise me if Mike Dodds sort of employed a system that would make you think that they were the away team because of what's happened in the last 2 home games with Leicester. And so they know they can't control the game as much as Leicester will. They've got youth in abundance in their team, so they'll try and use that youth, that pace, that energy to try and break Leicester down when they're coming forward and hit them on the counter-attack. So it wouldn't surprise me. I don't think Sunderland, with the form that they're in, are going to come out and try and take Leicester on it, keeping the ball and trying to control the game this evening.
Jamie Vardy back in the starting 11, Jerry.
Yeah, I mean, you look at the changes he's made, Enzo Maresca, and there's there's pros for every one of them. Let's be honest, after the result on Saturday. So no, absolutely no arguments. But definitely, it's a night where you need someone who's going to raise their head above the parapet to try and get Leicester a result.
Gerald, it's Matthew again.
Hello, Matthew.
How are you, son? You all right?
I'm very well.
I've noticed that. My first question is, where did you produce that little Christopher Reeve Superman curl from on the front of your old Barnet, mate?
Oh, I don't know.
Hey?
It needs a cut, doesn't it? I say you've had a little trim, sunshine.
I have, mate.
Yeah.
I can get
And
you
not
2 for
before
1 at my
time.
barber's.
Yeah.
My second question, perhaps a bit more relevant. Callum Doyle coming in on the left-hand side. Do you think that will help, benefit Steffi Mavadidi?
I think so. I think with the quality that Doyle has with his left foot, definitely. I'm not saying James Justin doesn't, but have quality. But I think the balance when Doyle is in the team, because he's naturally left-footed, and he's got a wand of a left foot, shall we say, so he can pick a pass out with that left foot when he needs to, and hopefully that will help Mavadidi. Not only just where he's placing the ball, but also the pace on the ball, decision making on the ball, being positive. Invariably Doyle on that left side is a bit more positive when he's got the ball on his left foot, because he knows he's got the quality to pick a pass. And sometimes James Justin gives that opportunity up because he's not as comfortable on his left foot, so he'll have to come back inside onto his right, and maybe 5 times out of 10 he might go back to the centre half, or he might go infield and play a 5-yard square pass infield. So yeah, I'd like to think that Doyle will give a little bit more quality and a little bit more penetration on that left-hand side.
Yeah, that's the reason I asked the question. I agree. I think it will assist Mavadidi, and you've answered it exquisitely, son, as
Thank
always.
you.
As always.
A bit like my quiff.
No, the quiff's not exquisite. No. That's exceptional. It's exceptional, son, for all the wrong reasons. Anyway, Final question.
Yeah.
And I know it's going to be a good answer, a good, hearty, warm answer. What's the scran like up there, mate?
Well, I'll tell you now, right? The clock's ticking. I've got half an hour to kick off, and hopefully this is the last question, because I'm going down for seconds. All right. It's, what do you call it? Fajitas, chicken fajitas, chips, salsa, jalapenos, and guacamole in a wrap. Beautiful.
Tell you what, Tags, you've got a long way to get back down, because I've been to the Stadium of Light. You're right at the top of that main stand. Yeah,
I know, but Ewan, that'll just burn the calories off from the first wrap I've had. So it's free food I'm eating. It's quality.
You might need to wipe some of that guacamole in that quiff, mate, to keep it in position.
I'll bear that in mind if I lose it. Believe you me.
Perfect. Thank you very much, Jerry. Yeah, you've got about 20, 25 minutes till you're on commentary, so go and get another wrap in you. Thank you very much. We'll hear from you again just before kickoff. Right, there was a very interesting on this day, actually, considering we're playing against Sunderland on this day back in 2000, Matt.
Oh, I know what's coming.
It was a very, very
Stan the man.
Good performance, wasn't there? What a goal that was.
That was a goal. You need to show that again.
but a rout really, wasn't it? We can show the Collymore one again, but yeah, good performance that.
Try stopping that.
Straight after the cup final, wasn't it?
It was, which is the standard of the performance is even more surprising because of that, because it was a long week. We celebrated the cup final, and then my son was born on the Tuesday, I think it was. We celebrated a few days there as well, so I can say it now because it's a few years on. But it was a long week, mate. But there you go.
Yeah. I think we can see the Collymore first one again, because
strike,
that was a great strike, wasn't it?
Well, working in tandem, him and Emil, just feeding off each other. There you go, flick on. Knows exactly where it's going. Bang. Stan had that class about him, didn't he?
He's a good player.
Oh.
Strength, quick. Scored all types of goals, as we've seen here. Lovely little flick from him. He's on it straight away.
That's a proper goal.
And the great contact.
The only time they played together.
Yeah.
Sadly, Emil went to Liverpool.
We had a look. I think it was about eight days after that game. Yeah. Not even that. Maybe even less than that. Less than a week.
Beginning of the end.
To Liverpool.
Of an era.
There's something else happening in that game. Did Big Quinn?
Yeah, well, I mentioned
I forgot about that.
I
told you it was a long week.
I said it was 5-2. We didn't see any Sunderland goals in there, but actually Niall Quinn.
Oh, come on, show this.
Quinn scored.
Whee! What are you doing, mate? Where are you going?
What happened there?
Listen, mate. Perhaps it was Frank Sinclair. Oh!
Square
big long legs.
Side on, mate.
Side on. Feet. No, I thought I could get there. I thought I'd cover it. He's got size 15 feet, Niall Quinn.
Did he shout it, by the way?
His big long toe.
Nuts.
No, I think he had a little reminder afterwards. I think we might have been 3-0 up at the time, though. So it didn't matter so much. But I did tell you it was a long week.
What did Marty say to you?
Nothing. 1-5-2. Doesn't care, does he? A win's a win in Marty's books.
Did you think you were getting away with that one tonight when we didn't see that?
I totally forgot about it. I must admit, I thought it was another game against Sunderland, him and Kevin Phillips, but
they were a good partnership, by the way.
Yeah, they were indeed. But yeah, he had some tussles with Niall Quinn. He was an awkward character on the pitch and loved the moan. There's a great photo. Get that up another time. It won Sports Photo of the Year. You've got Tags and Niall Quinn going at it. Me sort of semi-intervening. Darren Eady and Kevin Phillips over there going, keep out of that one. And Tags is gone, by the way.
See, Northern Ireland, the Republic
of
Ireland.
Both at it.
And a nice little link, actually, from that into this current Sunderland side. They were two brilliant strikers, Quinn and Phillips, weren't they? Mm. They do anything for half of one of those now. The lack of goals from forward positions from the strikers for Sunderland in particular is...
I'd still take Esky and Collymore over them two, but Sunderland fans will beg to differ,
from
I'm sure.
One game. Yeah, I mean, even tonight, their striker, Semedo, he hasn't scored a league goal all season.
That's not good, is it, for your centre forward?
No.
I mean, as you've spoken about, Jack Clarke, 15 goals. He's out with an injury. Their second top scorer is Joby Bellingham with 5. So it's a massive, massive miss for them.
Hmm. Yeah, it tells its own tale, doesn't it, that? But it's not reason to be casual, though, or to be sloppy. And I'm sure Leicester, in the situation they are at the moment, will be far from that. I expect them to turn in a real performance tonight, to be fair. And to a degree, it's not a bad game, is it? Like Sunderland, if you're going to be away from home, I know it's a bit of a journey, but Sunderland struggling a bit. Things are a bit all over the place, aren't they? One way or another. To get things back on track, this is not a bad fixture.
Yeah, hopefully not. Let's hear a little bit more then about Sunderland. As we've mentioned, they've lost their last 4 in a row in the league, and James Hunter from We Are Sunderland AFC has said they've been struggling recently and they will really miss Jack Clarke this evening.
Sunderland have been in pretty bad form, to be honest with you, Dan. Things have been on a downward curve, really. Well, certainly since the beginning of December, when the club took the decision to sack Tony Mowbray. And little has gone right since. Obviously, Michael Beale came in, didn't last more than 12 games. He's had a very poor run, and he paid the price just a couple of weeks ago. So it's gone very much downhill. Sunderland have slipped from sort of the cusp of the playoffs down to mid-table really, and their playoff chances seem to be disappearing quite fast, and it's hard to see how they're going to get them back on track, particularly having lost some key players at the moment. The big one, the one that will get all the attention, is the injury to Jack Clarke. I mean, he's certainly Sunderland's best player, most influential attacking player. He's probably he is one of the best players in the Championship, and he's going to be out for 6 weeks, probably about 5 more weeks to go of that, and that's a huge blow for Sunderland, particularly because I think Jack scored about 15 goals, and he's certainly now probably got the most assists in the team. So to lose him for this period is a real hammer blow to Sunderland's hopes of getting into the top 6.
Yeah, goals have been a bit of an issue for Sunderland, as we've mentioned this season. They've been heavily reliant on Jack Clarke, haven't they? How much of a miss will he be this evening?
He's a massive miss. As 15 goals speaks for himself. And I wouldn't say he's an out-and-out centre-forward. He plays on that left-hand side. He's a right-footed left winger, a bit like MATCHDAY. Loves cutting in, drifting in from that left-hand side. He had a really good understanding with Niall Huggins, I think, the Welsh left back, who also he's suffered a bad injury. So that left-hand side's sort of been, what's the word I'm looking for? It's
depleted.
That's a great shout. Depleted. So they've had to sort of rejig the left-hand side of the team. I mean, how do you replace 15 goals when you're not a free-scoring a free-scoring team anyway? It's very, very hard, and it doesn't sound if he's going to be back anytime soon.
It's a big blow, isn't it?
Goes without saying, doesn't it? I mean, you rattled off the stats earlier about the second top goal scorers after Clarke, and massive gap there, and it goes without saying it's going to be a huge hit, isn't it? But someone's got to step up to the plate to some degree, and Leicester don't want to be casual, complacent tonight, thinking they're going to be secure defensively by just going through the motions. And sooner or later, someone will pop up.
We know every game pretty much, particularly the away ones, have been difficult. Even the home one with QPR at the weekend. Leicester know that now. Sunderland themselves are pretty much the definition of mid-table at the moment. They're the same amount of points away from the playoffs as they are from the relegation zone. They were in a better position than that when they had Tony Mowbray. They don't have him anymore. They've been through, another manager in between that as well, and they've given it to Mike Dodds till the end of the season on an interim basis. So you don't really know what you'll expect from Sunderland.
You're right. They're in that sort of no man's land at the minute. 9 points off the relegation zone, 9 points off Hull in 6, 11 games to go. I mean, yeah, they're in bad form, but I wouldn't be surprised if they still think they've got a chance of maybe nicking that. Oh, of course, they need results to go their way, and other teams above them to hit poor form, and them to sort of start winning games once again. But for them, if they're going to sort of have any chance of finishing in that 6th place, this is a game they will have to win. And maybe that will play into Leicester's sort of hands, because they will throw men forward. And we know how lethal, especially away from home, Leicester can be on the counter-attack. I mean, they've got the best away record in the league. The highest scorers away from home in the league, scored more goals on the road than they have here at the King Power. I mean, won 12 of 17 away games. That's a magnificent number.
Well, you can look at it in that context and say it's sort of almost last chance saloon, shall we say, for Sunderland. So there might be an element of that, like going for the game as best they can. But I think their best route forward is probably to play like Cherry and myself prior to that suggested, that like QPR did, and like Middlesbrough did. But they've got to be sharp and swift when they do attack. Listen, you're sort of intimating, Batesy, by what you're saying there, that it's not a bad fixture. I said it before, and it is. The honest truth is, it is a good fixture for Leicester to hopefully bounce back into some sort of form. But Leicester have got to go and make sure it's not just going to happen by going through the motions. Leicester have got to be on it, and they've got to sort of re-energise themselves a little bit, bring a little bit more to the party, because the last thing they want to do is just let things slowly drift and slip away, as I was going to say, as they have been. They haven't been, but the results have slipped out of their hands, haven't they? The points have. That needs to come to a halt tonight.
I look at the game here in October, and they were the best side that I'd seen up till then at the King Power. I thought they'd give it a proper go. They weren't like every other team that came here and got men behind the ball and sort of tried to frustrate and defend in deep areas. They pressed, they squeezed, they tried to put the Leicester's defenders under pressure, tried to win the ball quite high. I mean, I don't think the fans at the stadium, the Sunderland fans at the Stadium of Light tonight, would like to see their team be negative, if that makes sense. Yeah. And drop deep, you're at home, the onus is on you, you're in a bad run.
Probably periods where there's a bit of both.
Sometimes you have to do that.
Probably
Sometimes
works out like that.
And as I think you said earlier, they are a very young side. We spoke about it last night. I think 10 of their starting 11 on Saturday were 23 or younger. They're a very, very young side, inexperienced team.
Let's hear now from one of the Leicester City players, relatively experienced, relatively inexperienced, you could also argue as well, Steffi Mavididi. He's been speaking to our commentator this evening ahead of kick-off pitchside at the Stadium of Light.
Pitchside at the Stadium of Light. What are you expecting from Sunderland this evening?
We're expecting a difficult game. We know what Sunderland pose. They're a good team. They're quite aggressive. So we're expecting a difficult game, yeah.
And what is the feeling in the camp overall? Because it's a losing streak in the league, but of course in the middle of that there was that win at Bournemouth, of course a Premier League side.
No, the feeling around the camp, we're confident. We know how good we are. We know what our target is. So yeah, I would say we're confident, and we've just got to stick together, keep working hard like we've been doing since the start of the season, and just carry it on till the end of the season.
And how important is it to get back to winning ways this evening after the run of defeats in the league?
Yeah, of course, obviously coming off of defeats, you would want to get back to a victory as soon as possible. So if we could do that tonight, that would be good.
And does it help knowing that you did beat Sunderland earlier on in the season at King Power Stadium?
I mean, every game is different, and we just got to take it game by game. But obviously, playing them previously, we know what to expect, and we're ready for what's to come.
And are you looking forward to the atmosphere at such a fantastic stadium under the lights?
Yeah, it's always nice as a player to play in iconic stadiums with big crowds, and yeah, it's always nice to play in these type of stadiums.
That was Steffi Mavididi there, speaking to tonight's commentator Tyler Morris ahead of kick-off for a game that is available for absolutely everybody. You can see on the right-hand side of your screen now where to go. There you go. It's on the main screen as well for you now. There's a QR code that you can scan. You can head on. It costs just £10 to watch the full game with us wherever you are, including here in the UK. Either scan that QR code or head on to lcfc.com/foxeshub. Team news-wise, Steffi Mavididi retains his spot from the weekend. 4 changes, though, have been made by Enzo Maresca. This is the starting 11. It's Hermanson in goal, Doyle, Fass, Cody and Chowdhury. Winks, Eunice and Dewsbury Hall are the midfielders, with Mavididi and Fatawu supporting Jamie Vardy, who returns to the starting 11. Wilfred Ndidi is back on the bench as well. Huge boost for the Foxes there. Mike Dodds makes a couple of changes for Sunderland. They come off the back of a 1-0 defeat against one of Ewan's old teams in Norwich at the weekend. They've got Patterson, O'Nien, Ballard and Selt. Hielder and Hume are the wing-backs. Ekwa and Neal in midfield, with Bellingham and Rigg in behind Semedo. We were just speaking about Steffi Mavididi. We were hearing from him there. Obviously, by far and away, his best league goals return in a season. There's still 11 games to go. He can hopefully add to that a number of times before now and the end of the season. He's vital to what Leicester do.
I mean, we've been waxing lyrical about Jack Clarke and the goals that he scored for Sunderland. 10 league goals in his first season with a football club from that left-hand side is a magnificent tally. I mean, at times, he's unplayable. You know, some of the things that he's done, absolutely. 1v1, he's so hard to... I mean, look back at that Leeds game. The young boy Gray couldn't deal with his pace. Just could not deal with his pace. The only thing I would say, 10 goals at magnificent return. He's only scored 1 in his last 9. I was looking earlier, and that was from the penalty spot. So gone off the boil sort of goals-wise in recent weeks.
At the other end of the pitch, that man on your screen there, Connor Cody, or was, he'll be dealing with him tonight, won't he, in Joby Bellingham. Big game for Cody, though, and that experience coming in, Matt, it will be key. Yeah,
it's difficult for him to get sort of any consistency about his game. The regularity of appearances, he's struggled to find that, hasn't he? But if you can rely on anyone in the squad, it's probably Connor Cody to give a good 7 out of 10 performance. And it's mentioned regularly, but he does bring those extra benefits of the cajoling, the encouraging, the organisation, which is just what I think Leicester are ripe for right
Communication
now.
as well.
That's exactly in those terms. He's got that experience. He keeps players on their toes, organises, sees the pictures, sees the game in front of him, and he can pick a pass a little bit as well. So, look for a big performance from him, and I expect to get one.
Yeah, final say can go to you. And before we hand over to the commentary team, big game for the likes of Cody, for the likes of Mavididi, as we've been speaking about. Big game for Leicester in general to get back to winning ways.
It is. I mean, it is a blip. 3 defeats or 3 consecutive defeats. There's still 23 teams in the Championship with swap places with Leicester City. It's been a magnificent. There was never going to be. I mean, because the teams only lost the odd game here and there. Back-to-back losses a few weeks ago, and then obviously this disappointing period. It's been a great season. It's been a great season, and we're hoping it can get back on track tonight.
The travelling Blue Army have witnessed some fantastic away days this season. Hopefully tonight is another one of those. If you're not at the stadium, don't worry. You can watch the full game with us on Fox's Hub. All you need to do is head to the website for all the details to watch it for just £10. Here are some more details about what is available to you before we hand over to our commentary team.
If you are watching on lcfc.com, just sit back and relax. If you are watching on social media, the live stream will finish shortly. If you want to continue enjoying our coverage, you'll need to head over to lcfc.com/Foxes Hub and purchase one of our game passes. If you are watching in a territory where the game isn't live on TV, you'll be able to watch a live video stream on Foxes Hub. Please visit lcfc.com/territories to check. If you can't find your location, live audio commentary is still available. You'll need to have an lcfc.com account before you purchase your Game Pass. If you already have one, please sign in and select your product at lcfc.com/Foxes Hub. Select the Buy button and you'll be taken to the payment page. Once you've followed the simple payment steps, press Continue at the bottom of the screen and you'll be taken to the Foxes Hub homepage. If you purchased a video pass, please select Watch Live from the Foxes Hub drop-down menu. If you purchased a Listen Live pass, please select Listen Live. If you purchased a seasonal or monthly video pass and the game is not being shown in your territory, please select Listen Live. If you are having a payment or technical issue, please email Leicester TV Support at streamamg.com. Thank you, and we hope you enjoy the match.
Who wants to join me? Shopping at King Power. 3-day, 2-night stay booked. See ya.
To the rooftop bar.
To snap a photo for my IG.
To eat the famous patai.
The new collection is calling me.
Sure, there's a perfume I want. Let me